This is a shocking investigation because it's happening not just in the isolated pocket of West Bengal, but in multiple districts across the state, and coming on a day when one Trinamool minister was attacked using exactly the kind of bomb that you saw in that investigation. Joining us on the Newstrack tonight, I want to welcome Nupur Sharma, spokesperson for the Bharatiya Janata Party. Squaring off against Nupur, we have Vivek Gupta, spokesperson of Trinamool Congress. For third-party perspectives, we have Jayanto Ghoshal, Rajat Sethi and Sandhi Mukherjee, former Inspector General of the West Bengal Police. I want to go across to Nupur Sharma first because, you know, I was alarmed when I saw those images for the first time, Nupur. You've got these small bomb factories and improvised explosive devices being made in those bomb factories, and what's worse is each of those bomb makers are telling us that this is peak business season for them because there's a huge uptick in demand because there's a big election.
Rahul, to you, panelists. Well, you know,
Google search, absolutely, I mean Google search of TMC make bomb will actually give you multiple results of how many mishaps have happened wherein crude bombs are also being made in the houses of TMC leaders. And I'll give you some stats. August 2020, Humayun Kabir, a 40-year-old TMC leader, he died trying to make crude bombs at his house in Shamsherganj in Murshidabad. February 2017, 3 TMC workers were injured while making crude bombs in the house of TMC leader Babu Mundal in Burdwan. 2016, 80 crude bombs were recovered from TMC leader Saroj Ghosh's house in Birbhum. February 2016, in Khairashol, also in Birbhum, 2 people were killed in bomb blasts which went off because they were trying to make the crude bombs. In January 2016, 2 TMC men were killed also trying to make crude bombs at the house of Bipat Gorai's house. All of these are TMC leaders and I've taken their names. So yes, it is business as usual because violence is the way to political power apparently in Bengal, and it is absolutely unfortunate when the Bharatiya Janata Party says we have lost 130 of our Karyakartas and their families still await justice. If a Mr. Shukla can be shot in broad daylight right diagonally opposite a police thana, you can well imagine what the situation of law and order is in the state of West Bengal. And I'm sorry to say and repeat it, I do not concur with Mamta Didi's defense that this happened within the railway station. A news report tells me that the minister was walking towards the railway station. The point is, law and order is 100% a state responsibility.
Now, Vivek Gupta, this is the point. If in multiple districts of West Bengal, our reporters on a one-week tour of West Bengal are able to penetrate these bomb-making factories, expose on camera the cost of those bombs and how they're being assembled and the fact that they can be sold en masse for the elections, it seems to suggest that this is happening under the nose of the local administration, which hasn't been vigilant and harsh and hasn't come down on these bomb makers. What do you have to say in the defense of your government, sir?
Rahulji, first and foremost, I would like to establish that Trinamool is a poor person's party. It's a poor party. We can't afford to buy bombs. You should be asking these questions to the real customers of the bombs, who are the rich party who got some 20,000 crore in fixed deposits and whose annual collections are in thousands of crores. Second, I completely agree with Nupurji to the extent that state law and order is a state subject. We have seen this report. I am sure the police will get cracking on it and they will investigate and do whatever is needful. And these bombs are definitely not desired to be made or stored in Bengal, whether for election or for any other purpose. So I'm sure the police will be kept tracking. The bigger point is, you know, who is the customer for these bombs? Who wants these bombs to be made? And who can pay for these bombs? Who wants to use these bombs in these elections? We have had peaceful elections last Lok Sabha. Before that, we've never had to use bombs. Our bomb is our personality. Our bomb is our leader. He's enough. When she comes down on the opposition anyways goes bust. Their houses are bust, they go bust. So we don't need artificial or these kind of bombs. We have the people's bomb, the human bomb, the love or the affection of the people bomb. That's the kind of bomb we like to use. We don't like to use these kind of bombs.
Okay,
we don't believe in violence.
Just a moment. I want to go across to Jayanto Ghoshal, who's tracked West Bengal politics for more than 3 decades. Jayanto, this is alarming. You know, the fact that you've got these images of these bomb factories, that these bombs are being assembled, and that demand has shot up. You know, can the state government avoid any part of the blame? Because this is happening on their watch. Now, Vivek Gupta on this show says, we will attack and we will take down whoever is doing this illegal activity. But is it as simple as that? Or do you think the state government has some very serious questions to answer? Vivek Gupta. Jayanta Ghoshal.
Rahul, it's a very brilliant story actually. This is a, I mean, I think you are enlightening us, not only enlightening us, this story actually, it has a positive role because you are exploring another Bengal. I'm from Bengal, but this sort of stories, it shows that what is happening beneath the carpet. You know, once upon a time from Munger, the arms and ammunition used to come in the CPM time for election. So violence is a well-known subject, and you in the several occasions you also did several panel discussion on violence in West Bengal. There is no caste violence or communal violence, but the political violence is the highest in West Bengal since 60s. Naxalite movements also that time, they used to also throw the bombs, and there is a cultural problem on the political violence. But I'm telling you, if I say that last 10 years, West Bengal government run by Mamata Banerjee, and the law and order is a state subject, as Nupurji also clearly pointed out. So the responsibility of the state government, Vivek also said that it should be there, and why it is happening. But one thing I should mention, Rahul, that in your story, the man is saying that both the parties are buying, and the election time it's a more costly, so buy it as early as possible because there is a demand, and the demand and supply, so it's a business. And in West Bengal, all the political parties is a victim of this culture, and they are selling this to BJP also, and Trinamool also we can give a list.
No, are political parties victims, or are they beneficiaries? No, Sandeep Mukherjee, Jayanta Ghoshal and others would make the point that this is not new, that this has been happening for long in West Bengal politics. But surely, you know, you've been in the police force in West Bengal. The local police needs to take a large part of the blame for allowing these factories to flourish. Mr. Mukherjee.
Excuse me, you are talking about local police to take action. That is very true. But now situation has to be like that, where local police will be in a position to take action to prevent this kind of incident, to take, that anti-socials and then these rogues and rowdies, they're scared of rule of law. That is a very serious setback so that the rule of law is concerned. Police over the years has been made to totally dependent on instructions, rather received from this political corridor. That's a very tragic situation, there. And the local common people there on the receiving end. There's a show, that other speakers were talking about the culture of violence during elections in West Bengal. That is very true. Over the years, that the more the police and police's organization, whose responsibility, constitutional responsibility, is to ensure, create a situation where rule of law is strong. It has been reversed totally, because now police has to wait for the instruction and not of the political people, either local or district or the state-wise, how they should move. That's a very tragic situation, and it's a situation where there's no rule of law is so weak. That's a very not having investment to industry to business. That's affecting almost the common people of the entire state. Now this is a very serious situation now, and the poor people, the young people who are joining any political party or something, many people are dying on the road, as being claimed now. So this is a very,
So Rajat Sethi, defenders of the government will say that this is not unique to West Bengal alone. There are bomb factories in Bihar, there are bomb factories in parts of Uttar Pradesh as well. So don't make it seem as if West Bengal is the haven of illegal bomb factories, where it's not necessarily the case. How do you respond to what you're hearing? Rajat Sethi.
Rahul, if what you've shown today is true, what I fear is that this particular election in West Bengal is going to be by far the most violent election India has ever seen. So the Bengali friends will have to brace up, will have to really risk their lives when they're going to the polling station. And conducting free and fair elections is going to be an uphill task for the Election Commission. What I feel really sad is the kind of normalization that the TMC spokesperson was just doing on this television channel. He was saying that the law and order should be looked into it. What I need to understand from his, what single exemplary action has Mamata Banerjee for the past 10 years has she ever taken to stop the institutionalization of this level of violence in the state? I have seen other states also which had similar culture. Tripura was also one where there was 35 years of communist rule, which was stopped. But in the past 2-3 years, you see the violence, political violence has absolutely gone down to zero. So the intent is important.
Respond to that, Vivek Gupta. Rajat Sethi is saying the government in West Bengal has institutionalized this illegal bomb making, that there is no intent in taking exemplary action against those who engage in this wrongdoing.
There is no limit on wishful thinking, and anything that goes right in West Bengal, the central government seems to be doing it. Anything that goes wrong, the West Bengal government seems to be doing it. This is the narrative the BJP is going to play around with this election, as if the central government has its own own land or something. They just forget in their arrogance and attitude that the central government is comprised of the states. We are a union of states. We are all in this together. And
so please respond to the answer,
I would like
to the question that I asked. So please respond to the question.
ED, CBI, ED, National Investigative Agency. There are so many agencies that the BJP backed central government has unleashed on Bengal, who are doing routine investigations. If they had any intelligence, I hope they would have shared.
Rajat Sethi wants to make a quick counter. I see Nupur also has a hand up. Rajat, to you first, quickly.
Very small point. I think West Bengal is one state.
I'm coming back to you. Vivek, you've spoken. I'm coming back to you. Rajat.
Mr. Gupta, West Bengal is unfortunately a failed state. You don't see this level of election violence in a lot of the failed states, even in Africa. That is the hard reality. Anybody who has lived and loves that state feels very sad. Their heads hang in shame with the current level of politics that is happening and the normalization that your government has done. They believe that if there is desperation in terms of any poll outcome, we should instill fear in the minds of the common people so that they don't show up on polling stations.
Okay, Nupur Sharma.
That is how we want to normalize it.
Mr. Gupta, well, you actually said that, we are not a very rich party. Well, I gave you 5 examples and I can cite 5 more with the names of TMC leaders in whose own houses the bombs were being made. You said nothing about that. I don't know where the money came from for these TMC leaders. With Sarda, Narda, Rose Valley kind of stands behind you. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're on about. Point number 2, and very importantly, since you were explaining the federal structure, I'll give you a range of examples. Well, the CBI comes in to investigate the chit fund scam. Mamata Didi sits in protest along with the police commissioner. The Supreme Court has to intervene and say that, no, you have to present yourself for interrogation. Wherein Abhishek Banerjee's wife returns from Thailand into the airport, she refuses to be checked by Custom and Excise, a completely central government function. That's what the Constitution says. Your government comes out with a notification and a direction clearly stating no TMC VVIP will ever be checked by Custom and Excise. By the way, that completely goes against the ethos of our Constitution. I can cite more examples for you. The CAA will not be applicable in our state. Whose statement is that? Mamata Didi. The CAG audit, considering that you have a large part of your land which is a border, the CAG will not audit. 2018, your government said so. During COVID last year, the interministerial central team was not given permission to come into the state to see the increasing number of COVID deaths and the increasing level of suppression of this information.
Okay, so what I want to do is just show our viewers what happened in this bomb attack. Violence has peaked again in Bengal right ahead of the assembly elections. The Trinamool government is blaming the railway ministry for the bomb attack on the Minister of State Zakir Hussain. The BJP, while hitting back, said the attack is proof of Bengal's deteriorating law and order. Our Kolkata bureau with this story.
Massive surge in pre-poll violence in West Bengal. A chilling blast caught on camera. TMC Minister Zakir Hussain seriously hurt after explosives allegedly kept on Murshidabad station went off. 20 people were injured in the blast. The Bengal CID hinted that crude explosives were put on the platform in a black bag, adding that attackers may have prior knowledge about the minister's visit. While Mamata claimed a massive conspiracy, BJP blamed TMC in fighting for the attack, daring Didi to order a CBI probe.
আমি জানি না রেলওয়ে এত বড় ঘটনার পরে কি করে এটাকে ক্যাজুয়ালি নিচ্ছে। ইটস এ ভেরি বিগ কনস্পিরেসি। তিনটে টিমকে লাগানো হয়েছে। সুতরাং সত্যি ঘটনাটা খুঁজে বের করাই আমাদের কাজ এবং আমরা খুঁজে বের করব।
Amid all this, TMC BJP workers fought street wars in Kolkata after a BJP delegation going to meet the city top cop faced barbs from TMC men. Party's Kolkata chief Shibaji Roy was grievously hurt in fist fights and stone pelting. BJP's Shuvendu Adhikari had a narrow escape. Amid street wars and bomb blasts, BJP made a sensational charge, calling a plot to turn Bengal into Pakistan.
আমরা এর ঘোর নিন্দা করছি এবং এই ধরনের সমস্ত আক্রমণের সিবিআই তদন্ত করছি। এই সরকারের যদি হিম্মত থাকে সিবিআই তদন্ত করুক, তাহলে সত্যি এর পিছনে কি আছে জানা যাবে।
Violence and lawlessness peaking in Bengal in run-up to polls, making the upcoming polls perhaps the bloodiest in India's history. With Indrajit Kundu, Bureau Report, India Today.
So the big concern that I have is, are we going to see all these bombs which are being manufactured then start exploding in different parts right ahead of the election? And is there a way, Sandeep Mukherjee, of being able to prevent that? Is there anything that the Election Commission, the local law and order machinery, soon elections will be announced in Bengal, what should be done so that all these places that we exposed, in Basharat, for example, in the North 24 Parganas district, in Bardhaman, for example, at Midnapur, that you actually go out and take some action against these illegal bomb factories? How do you think it should be done right now?
Now, there's a problem. There's a main issue is that there's a government should have the wish, that honest wish to control this law and order and to make rule of law to prevail in the state for the benefit of the people. Ethically, they should think about it, but in reality, it's the totally reverse. You might have heard about the kind of cut money culture. All the political local leaders, they're all so used to earning money in a very illegal manner, and they are all out to ensure that their terms that is affected at the cost of the rule of law in the districts. And police is now you can understand the way it has to be now like other states. So these are high time that Supreme Court's guideline, 7-point guideline issued in 2010 should be implemented, and all the political parties, they should be, and they're all always they're abusing each other, cursing each other, pointing there's a weakness of each other. They enjoy their life, enjoy because of political and then huge corruption and family rule. But what is needed, honestly, that and this rule of law, the guideline of Supreme Court need to be implemented immediately, so that this machinery whose responsibility is to ensure rule of law, this is upheld.
Jayant Ghoshal, the concern is if ministers can be attacked as they walk on streets, then what happens to the ordinary person in West Bengal? We were in Kolkata together over the weekend. Law and order and the condition of law and order seems to be one of the key concerns for voters in the state, especially when they see these kind of attacks where there are bombs going off, there are bomb factories, sitting on the outside, and on the inside you wonder, just what's going on.
No, this is nobody can support this sort of bomb factories. But one thing is very clear, again and again I am saying that it is true that the state government has its own responsibility. But this is a very interesting social phenomenon that in our Calcutta city, there is a strong cultural civil society's existence, and parallelly another social life of these bomb factories, the political patronage, and this has become also a social phenomenon. Like in Mumbai, the antisocial activities and the commercial capitalism, both actually they exist together. The capital of business is Bombay, and in front of Akbar Ali's shop there is a gang war and nobody bothers. So in West Bengal also I think there is a parallel life. One is very strong, Tagore, Nazrul and all the Bengali identity with the post-Renaissance Bengali culture. The other side, this political violence. Now BJP is trying to preach that the new Bengal they will bring, and this communist and TMC sponsored this political patronage or to the antisocial activities will be withered away. But Trinamool Congress, what you have mentioned, that this Trinamool minister is attacked, and there is a school of thought that he is close to Suvendu Adhikari, this, that. But Mamata Banerjee is saying that it's a larger conspiracy. Trinamool Congress is not beneficiary, highlighting this sort of incident, this culture, and so why TMC will attack. So there is a two school of thoughts, but I am telling you one thing is very clear, that it's a very lamentable situation of Bengal, that this sort of factories are, it has become a socio-economic alternatives for unemployed people.
No, but that's very dangerous, Rajat. When people start looking at bomb factories as a possible source of employment, that because we can't find other jobs, then let's try and make some bombs. We can make money off it. That is a very, very problematic situation for any state to be in.
That's what I said, Rahul. I think this is the classic definition of what a failed state looks like, where you are just not able to create, attract industry to come in. In fact, she was the epitome of stopping industry to come in, and she won to all the political glory by stopping the Tatas, which went to Gujarat. See, ultimately, this culture this is classic communist tendencies of not allowing private sector to come in, develop, create jobs. And this level of political violence is going to be a direct outcome of your political ideology. When you do not support private sector, there's a cyclical impact on the number of jobs that you can create within the state. There will be exodus of people outside the state, and those who cannot leave the state will end up in these shortcuts to earning livelihood. And this is where I think an alternative political ideology, which can come in, start relooking at the whole structure, start looking at the labor markets, understanding where people can get jobs. Ultimately, it is about building a new Bengal. It has to be done from scratch. What she did, what Mamata Didi did, was in 2010, around that time, she got a solid opportunity to change this violent culture once and for all. But instead of doing that, she chose to ride the tiger, and now the tiger is going to haunt Trinamool Congress.
Okay, so we've heard different points of view. That there are bomb factories operating, of that there can be no dispute. Now, what's the right approach to dealing with them? Because this shouldn't just be left till after the elections. To my mind, we need to move now to dismantle some of these bomb factories. Whether the local government and the local police do it, whether the election commission steps in, there must be immediate action, because otherwise all these bombs will end up on the streets or at railway stations, common people, ministers. Who knows who will be the next to get attacked. Thank you very much for joining in, and our investigative team is in West Bengal, and we're looking at different dimensions of what's happening in the state, as also in the other election going states like Assam, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry, and we'll keep bringing you these investigative reports along with our regular political coverage right here on the India Today network. I'm slipping into a break.